Psalm 19 tells us that the law of the Lord is perfect, restoring the soul. This is not the kind of sentiment we often think of from our Protestant worldview, where we like to say that grace is good and law is bad. This is because Luther gave us an idea that there were two major uses of the law: civil restraint of evil and the condemnation of sin. That comes out in the major feeling of Protestantism today, that we think of rules as bad and freedom coming from grace. But we miss the fact, as Calvin would have us understand, that there is another use, a third use, a Christian use of the law, which is to delight in God, enjoy God. The law directs the life of the believer. Christians receive grace and are freed from condemnation, which frees us to obey the law with pleasure. Paul says, "I delight in the law of God in my inner man." And that's a good thing. It matches the Psalms, it matches the testimony of the whole Old Testament of Jesus. And this affects how we teach our children as well. We don't teach the law to our children as something that is foreign to them and which comes down on them, but we teach that they are within the grace that enables them to stand before and with the law. The Shema teaches us that the children are already in the law. We are to bind it on our foreheads and our wrists and speak of it when we rise up and lay down and go out and come in. All the time we are speaking of the law because it is restorative to the soul of one who is already founded in grace. So when we speak to our children, we can say to them with Paul, "You must consider yourself dead to sin and alive to Christ." What does this mean in terms of discipline for our children? We need to give them the idea that forgiveness at the same time teaches a love for the law and a peace in forgiveness. If a person forgives us, it is because we have done something wrong. Forgiveness implies sin. Forgiveness also implies there's a standard, and it implies that the person holding the standard also has loved us. Jesus says, "He who is forgiven much loves much." So as we forgive, we love them. Standing at the standard of the law, we love them, and we ask them to love us in return. Having been forgiven, rise to the standard of the law. They're given power to live out the law. And so we can say to them, "What you did was wrong. I love you. I forgive you." Declare yourself forgiven and say, "I will do what you say." Jesus says to his disciples, "If you love me, you'll keep my commandments." So this is reflected when our children sin. We say, "I forgive you, I love you, now do what I say." And that is a very scriptural thing. It's founded in grace, and it is worked out in law. That does not mean earning anything. It means living based in grace for obedience, which looking backwards we say He prepared in advance that we should walk in them.